A bill usually does not begin as a bill. It begins as a dusty air filter, a tiny leak under the sink, a low tire, or a phone battery that dies at 40% right when you need it. The expensive part is not always the part. The expensive part is the wait. So here is the rule for this video. Before you buy new, before you call emergency service, before one annoying problem takes over the week, check the cheap window first. The cheap window is the moment when you still have choices. You can clean the filter, tighten the supply line, check the tire pressure, replace a battery instead of replacing the phone, get the estimate in writing before a mechanic starts work. Find the warranty before you pay twice. That is the payoff. Not becoming a full-time handyman, not pretending unsafe work is smart, keeping ordinary problems out of panic mode, because the same problem can have two prices. There is the price when you catch it in daylight, with a receipt, a manual, a calendar, and time to compare. Then there is the price after it interrupts your day, and you need someone to make it disappear now. Most money advice starts with what to stop buying. This starts with what to check before the market charges you for waiting. We are going through 7 easy fixes that prevent big bills: filters, leaks, drafts, tires, car warning signs, phone batteries, and the repair before replace pause. The first one is the filter. If the air in your home is not moving well, if the room unit sounds strained, or if the cooling feels weaker than it should, do not start with the worst case story. Start with the thing designed to catch dirt. Pull the filter, look at it. If it is packed with dust, that is not just ugly. It is resistance. The machine has to work through it. Comfort gets worse, efficiency gets worse, and the problem starts to feel larger than it is. The boring action is the useful one. Check the filter before you diagnose the whole system. That is the shape of the episode. One small object, one early check. One way to keep a bill from becoming bigger than it needed to be. The reason this matters is not that every fix saves a dramatic amount of money. It is that many households do not have much room for surprise. In the Federal Reserve report released in May 2026, 63% of adults said they would cover a $400 emergency expense using cash, savings, or a credit card paid off at the next statement. A large minority would need another route. So a $400 problem is not abstract. It can become the week, the credit card balance, the thing that makes groceries, gas, and sleep feel smaller. The goal is not guaranteed savings. It is better timing. Meet the problem while it is still small, visible, and boring. The cheapest fix has a deadliness. A small problem does not sit still forever. It changes categories. A tiny leak is a washer or a valve until it becomes a cabinet, a floor, a wall, and a weekend call. A tire that is a little low is air until it becomes fuel waste, uneven wear, or a roadside problem. A phone with a tired battery is a service appointment until it becomes a reason to walk into a store and compare yourself to the newest model. The money mistake is not stupidity. It is comparison. When something is annoying, people compare the broken old thing to the perfect new thing. Broken phone versus new phone. Drafty room versus new heater. Slow appliance versus new appliance. Noisy car versus new car. The real comparison should be smaller. Broken part versus replacement part. Dirty filter versus clean filter. Old weather strip versus new strip. Low tire versus correct pressure. Confusing repair quote versus a written estimate and a second opinion. That middle option is easy to skip because it is not glamorous. It does not feel like progress. It feels like maintenance, and maintenance has terrible marketing. New is visible. Repair is quiet. New gives you a box, a tracking number, a receipt, a little dopamine. Repair gives you the same life with fewer problems. That is often the better financial outcome, but it does not announce itself. Urgency changed the price again. When a problem becomes urgent, you lose comparison time. You accept the first appointment. You accept the after-hours rate. You accept the replacement because you need the thing working. Even when no one is doing anything wrong, urgency makes you a weaker buyer. That is why this is a Money Code episode, not a home maintenance lecture. The money is in preserving choice. Before a service call, write down what you see, hear, smell, and when it started. Before replacing a product, check warranty, common part failures, official service options, and whether one component is doing most of the damage. Before authorizing a repair, ask for a written estimate and keep records. That last piece is straight consumer protection common sense. The Federal Trade Commission tells people to get written estimates and keep repair records for auto work. The same mindset travels well. Make the problem specific before you pay to solve it. Specific beats panic. If a professional is needed, call one. If gas, electrical breaks, roof work, mold, major water intrusion, or high voltage equipment is involved, this is not a dare to save money by doing unsafe work. Safety wins. But for ordinary maintenance problems, the first question is not, how do I replace this? The first question is, what is the smallest true problem here? Once you know that, the big bill has to work harder to reach you. Fix 1 is the filter check. This is easy to underestimate because the object looks cheap. A filter does not look like a money decision. It looks like a rectangle you forgot existed. But airflow is one of those household systems where a small obstruction can make everything feel worse. The room takes longer to cool. The unit sounds tired. Dust builds faster. You start wondering whether the machine is failing, when the first test is simply whether air can move. The Department of Energy's Energy Saver Guidance says a dirty filter in a room air conditioner restricts airflow and users should clean the filter regularly. For room units during cooling season, the guidance points people toward regular checks. That does not mean every cooling problem is a dirty filter. It means the filter is the right first question because it is visible, cheap, and meant to be checked. The routine is simple. Pick one calendar day. Pull the filter. If it is washable, clean it the way the manual says. If it is replaceable, match the size and type instead of guessing from memory. Put the next check on the calendar before the filter disappears back into the wall or unit. If you rent, you can still do part of this. You may not control the building system, but you can report weak airflow. Ask when filters were last changed. Take a photo of the condition and keep the maintenance request in writing. Documentation before blame is cheaper than arguing from memory. There is a spending trap here. When comfort gets worse, people buy around the problem. A portable fan, a space heater, a second room unit, a higher thermostat fight, more electricity trying to force comfort through a clogged path. Sometimes those purchases are necessary. But if the filter is the problem, buying around it is paying twice. Once for the neglected maintenance and again for the workaround. So the filter rule is check flow before you buy comfort, not because filters are magic, because they are the simplest way to find out whether the expensive story is even true. This is how small fixes prevent big bills. They do not always eliminate the bill. They create a lower rung on the ladder. If rung 1 solves it, you never climb to rung 5. And if rung 1 does not solve it, you still learned something before the service call. You can say, the filter is clean, the airflow is still weak, and here is when it changed. That makes the conversation better. A good fix does not have to be dramatic. It has to be early. Fix 2 is the leak walk. Water is the smallest expensive problem because it does not need drama to do damage. It only needs time. A drip under the sink can look harmless because it is quiet. A toilet flapper can leak without making a scene. An outdoor hose connection can stay wet long enough that everyone stops seeing it. Then one day the problem is not water anymore. It is swelling, staining, smell, flooring, cabinets, or a landlord dispute. The leak walk is not complicated. Once a month, look under sinks. Touch the cabinet floor with a dry paper towel. Check around toilets. Look at hose bibs, washing machine hoses, the water heater area, and any place where a line enters a wall. If you see moisture, do not file it emotionally under later. The Environmental Protection Agency's WaterSense program gives the scale. It says household leaks can waste nearly 1 trillion gallons of water nationwide each year, and the average family's leaks can waste nearly 10,000 gallons a year. It also says 10% of homes have leaks that waste 90 gallons or more per day. Those numbers are not a claim that your faucet is secretly destroying your budget. They are a reminder that small water problems are common enough to deserve a routine. The household rule is water gets attention before it gets permission. A leak does not need to be scary to be worth fixing. Tightening a connection, replacing a flapper, swapping a washer, or calling maintenance early can be the difference between a small part and a messy bill. If the fix is beyond your skill, fine. The win is noticing early enough to call during normal time, describe the issue clearly, and prevent secondary damage. For renters, the leak walk may be even more important. You may not own the pipe, but you do own the evidence trail. Send the maintenance request in writing. Include the location, date, photo, and what changed. If the leak grows, update the record. That is not being difficult. That is protecting yourself from a future argument about when the problem started. For homeowners, keep a small leak kit, only for safe, ordinary issues. Towels, flashlight, plumber's tape for appropriate threaded connections, a spare toilet flapper if you know the model, and the number of a professional for anything active or uncertain. The kit is not there to turn you into a plumber. It is there to stop you from freezing. The mistake is waiting for water to become obvious. Obvious water is already late. So this week, do the walk. 2 minutes under the sink. 1 glance behind the toilet. 1 check near the washing machine. 1 look at the outdoor spigot. It feels too small to matter until it becomes the exact thing you wish you had done earlier. Fix 3 is the draft strip. This is the chapter for the room that never feels right. The door with light under it. The window that makes the chair cold. The corner where the heater works hard and the comfort still escapes. Energy bills can make people feel personally accused. Use less. Turn it down. Put on a sweater. Those messages are not always wrong, but they can get exhausting. Sometimes the better first question is physical. Where is the paid-for air leaving? The Department of Energy says air sealing can save an average of 15% on heating and cooling costs. That is an average, not a promise for every home, but it is large enough to make gaps worth checking. Start with the simple places. Door sweeps, weather stripping, window gaps, attic hatches if you own the home and can inspect safely, plumbing penetrations under sinks, cable or utility openings where outside air slips in. You are looking for obvious leaks, not launching a construction project. The low-tech test is your hand, a piece of tissue, or the visible line of light under a door. If air moves there, money may be moving there too. For renters, removable weather stripping, draft stoppers, heavy curtains, and a written maintenance request for broken seals may be the realistic lane. Do not permanently alter the unit if the lease does not allow it. Document the issue and use portable fixes where appropriate. For homeowners, caulk and weather stripping can be cheap, but the limit matters. If there are combustion appliances, moisture problems, attic ventilation issues, or anything that affects indoor air quality, do not seal blindly. Comfort should not create a safety problem. The draft rule is seal the obvious leak before buying more heat or cold. That rule saves you from a common spending loop. Room feels bad. You buy a space heater. The bill climbs. The room still leaks. You buy a stronger fan. The house still loses air. The product was never solving the gap. This is not about being cheap. It is about asking whether a new purchase is compensating for an old leak. There is a useful emotional shift here. A drafty room makes a household feel powerless because the bill keeps arriving. A strip under a door is almost embarrassingly simple. That is why it works as a money code object. It turns a vague monthly pressure into a visible line you can close. When a fix is visible, the bill feels less mysterious. That is the relief this episode is chasing. Not perfect control, just fewer places where money disappears without a clear decision. Fix 4 is the tire gauge. A tire gauge looks too small to belong in a finance video. That is exactly why it belongs here. Cars get expensive, partly because the big bills are obvious and the small signals are easy to normalize. The tire looks a little low. The dashboard light comes and goes. The engine feels slightly rough. The fuel economy seems worse, but gas prices are noisy, so you blame the pump. The federal fuel economy site says underinflated tires can lower gas mileage by about 0.2% for every 1 psi, drop in the average pressure of all tires. It also says properly inflated tires are safer and last longer. That is not a lottery ticket number. It is a steady leak, a little fuel, a little tire wear, a little safety margin. Small enough to ignore, real enough to check. The routine is simple. Once a month and before long trips, check tire pressure when the tires are cold. Use the pressure listed on the driver's door placard or manual, not the maximum number printed on the tire sidewall. Add air if needed. Look for uneven wear. If one tire keeps losing pressure, that is not a personality flaw. It is a problem asking to be found. Then there is the warning light category. The federal fuel economy site gives a strong example. Fixing a serious maintenance problem, such as a faulty oxygen sensor, can improve mileage by as much as 40%. That is an upper bound example, not a normal promise. Use it correctly. Some car problems quietly charge you through fuel before they charge you through a repair counter. The car rule is, do the cheap diagnosis before the expensive assumption. That means do not ignore warning lights for months. It also means do not authorize vague work because a shop said the car needs a lot. Ask what code came up, what symptom it connects to, what happens if you wait, whether the repair is safety related, and what the written estimate includes. The Federal Trade Commission's auto repair guidance tells consumers to get written estimates and keep records. That is not a trick. It is a way to slow the moment down. A written estimate turns the big cloud into parts: labor, timing, and priority. It lets you ask, what is urgent, what is maintenance, what is optional, and what is unsafe to delay. Car stress can make people do two opposite expensive things. One person delays everything until the car fails. Another person panics and starts pricing a newer car because the old one finally complained. Both reactions can be costly. Delay can turn small problems into bigger ones. Panic can turn one repair into years of payments. The middle option is boring and powerful. Pressure, records, diagnosis, estimate, priority. If the car is unsafe, fix the safety issue or stop driving it. If the car is old enough that repairs are stacking up, replacement may be rational. But do not let a low tire, a neglected sensor, or a vague shop sentence become a car payment without a fight. The tire gauge is not about saving a few cents. It is about training yourself to catch small car signals while they are still small. Fix 5 is the battery before the new device. This is where replacement bias gets personal. A phone starts dying early. The laptop will not hold charge. The tablet feels slow. The store has a clean new model, a monthly payment, and a trade-in offer that makes the decision feel smaller than it is. Sometimes replacing the device is the right call, but sometimes the problem is one aging component wearing a costume called "I need a new one." Apple says iPhone batteries are designed to retain 80% of original capacity at 500 complete charge cycles under normal conditions. That does not tell you what to do with every phone. It gives you a useful frame. Batteries age, and battery service is a real category between tolerate it and replace the whole device. The device rule is check the service path before the upgrade path. Look at battery health if the device offers it. Check warranty or coverage. Check official service options. Check reputable repair options. Check whether the sluggish feeling is storage, battery, software, charger, cable, or a device that truly no longer fits your life. Do not use a cheap, unsafe battery service on a device you rely on. Do not ignore swelling, overheating, or damage. Those are safety problems. But do not let a normal aging battery automatically become a new phone payment either. This is where the right to repair conversation matters. But keep it in household language. The Federal Trade Commission has said Repair restrictions can make repairs more expensive and inconvenient for consumers. Plain English. Sometimes the market nudges you toward replacement because repair is made harder than it needs to be. That does not mean every repair is wise. A very old device may be unsupported, insecure, slow, damaged, or too expensive to service. But the pause is still valuable because it stops the upgrade path from pretending it is the only path. Use the 3-question test. Is the device unsafe or unsupported? If yes, replacement may be the grown-up answer. Is the problem mostly battery, storage, cable, charger, screen, or one part? If yes, price the part or service before replacing the product. Would I buy this upgrade today if the old device worked properly? If the answer is no, you may not want a new device. You may want relief from one annoying failure. That distinction saves money because monthly payments hide total cost. The new phone does not feel like a big purchase when it is folded into a plan. It feels like comfort for a few more dollars a month, but a few more dollars a month is still a contract with your future paycheck. So before the upgrade, check the battery. Before the new laptop, check storage, charger, and service. Before the new appliance, check the part, the warranty, and the estimate. New can be worth it. New can also be a very expensive way to avoid a smaller diagnosis. Now the counterweight. Sometimes fixing is the expensive option. This section keeps the video honest. A cheap fix is not virtuous if it makes a dangerous thing look safe. A repair is not smart if it voids a warranty you actually need. A part is not a bargain if the same system keeps failing every month. And do-it-yourself is not a money move when the real risk is gas, electrical shock, brakes, refrigerant, roof work, structural damage, mold, or active water intrusion. The point is not to worship repair. The point is to stop skipping the diagnosis. Use 4 red flags. Red flag 1, safety. If the problem can hurt someone, stop treating thrift as the highest value. Call the qualified person, follow the warranty path, or stop using the thing until it is safe. Red flag 2, repetition. If you have fixed the same problem twice and it keeps coming back, you may not be fixing the source. At that point, another small repair can become a subscription to frustration. Red flag 3, age and support. If a device no longer gets security updates, an appliance has obsolete parts, or a car repair exceeds the realistic value and reliability of the vehicle, replacement may be the cleaner decision. Red flag 4, hidden damage. Water, heat, electrical faults, and collision damage can look smaller than they are. If you cannot see the full problem, do not pretend the visible part is the whole bill. This is why the Repair First routine includes estimates and records, not just tools. A written estimate helps separate urgent from optional. A warranty check tells you whether paying out of pocket is premature. A maintenance record shows whether the problem is new or part of a pattern. The phrase easy fixes can sound like a promise that every big bill is avoidable. That would be false. Some bills are real. Some failures are random. Some replacements are rational. Some people are already doing the best they can with old housing, bad infrastructure, medical needs, low bargaining power, or landlords who move slowly. So the practical standard is not perfection. It is agency where agency exists. If the fix is safe, visible, low cost, and tied to a clear small cause, check it early. If the fix is unsafe, repeat it uncertain, or warranty sensitive, slow down and get the right help. That sentence is the line between useful frugality and expensive denial. The expensive mistake is not buying new. Sometimes new is exactly right. The mistake is buying new because panic hid the cheaper truth, or fixing old because pride hid the safer truth. Either way, panic is a bad buyer. The routine gives you one calmer step before money leaves your account. Turn this into a 5-minute scan, not a lifestyle overhaul, not a new identity. A small sequence before the big bill gets a vote. 1. Filter. Can air move, and is the maintenance item actually clean? 2. Leak. Is water appearing anywhere it should not be? 3. Draft. Is paid-for air escaping through an obvious gap? 4. Tires. Is pressure correct, and is wear trying to tell you something? 5. Warning sign. Is the car, device, or appliance giving you a specific symptom you can diagnose before you replace the whole thing? 6. Warranty and service path. Is there coverage, a part, a battery, or an official repair option between tolerated and buy new? 7. Written estimate. If a professional is needed, can you get the problem, parts, labor priority, and timing in writing before authorizing work? That is the scan. It will not make every bill disappear. It will not turn every renter into an owner, every old car into a reliable car, or every broken device into a cheap repair. It is not financial advice, legal advice, medical advice, or a substitute for a qualified professional. It is an order of operations. And order matters because panic is expensive. The dusty filter, the tiny leak, the strip under the door, the tire gauge, the battery screen, the warranty card, and the written estimate all do the same thing. They make the problem smaller, long enough for you to think. That is the real payoff. When money feels tight, the world keeps offering dramatic choices. Replace it, finance it, ignore it, put it on a card, call the first person available, buy the newer one because at least that ends the annoyance. Sometimes those choices are necessary, but many expensive weeks begin with a small thing. Nobody checked while it was still calm. So before the next big bill, look for the cheap window. Walk the sinks, feel the draft, check the tires, read the battery screen, find the warranty. Ask for the estimate if the problem still needs money. At least you are paying for the real problem, not for the panic around it. That is how easy fixes prevent big bills. Not by making life perfect, by catching the moment before a small problem learns how to charge full price.